Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today, what we're going to do is take a look at how I'm managing the knowledge that I gather. Now, this is quite relevant to me at the moment. I'm in the middle of launching a new YouTube channel where I go and look at questions that people ask and do the research. So I'm having to gather all this research together so I can write my script. Now, this is often referred to as personal knowledge management, or PKM. It's important to remember the very first word, personal. This is a very personal way of working. What works for one person, well, it just may not work for anybody else. We've got to adapt it to how it works for us. There's loads of ways to do PKM. It could be paper-based. It could be using an app. There's loads of apps out there. They start from free and they go all the way to either very large one-off costs or even monthly subscriptions. I use a package called Obsidian. Now it's a free cross-platform package. Let's switch over to the computer and we'll take a very quick look through the Obsidian interface. Here we are in the Obsidian interface. Obsidian, it uses the concept of a vault for storing your information. You can have multiple vaults on one computer, that's not a problem. I've tried playing around with it and I found that for me, just having one vault and then separating it up using some of the features of Obsidian, that was the best way that worked for me. The files in Obsidian, they're done using a markup language called Markdown. Markdown, it's a lightweight markup language that lets you create really well formatted text just using a plain text editor. And what's even easier, you can actually move it into different apps. There's a lot of different places that accept Markdown, so you're not stuck with an Obsidian format. And that's a bit of a downside for some of the other tools out there. Let's take a quick look at the file system. So here is the file system for Obsidian. As you can see, I did try a couple of different vaults, but I've gone back and everything here is in the Garry Obsidian vault. If we just go and take a look, I'm going to go just to the top one, questions. Here we can see this is where we've got the Markdown files. They all end with .md. I'm just going to very quickly open one just so you can see it. This is all Markdown is. Nothing complex about it. We'll go into this in a little bit more detail when we look at the note taking. Let's go back to Obsidian. So this is how you start. On the left-hand side, here we've got a menu. These are all different tools. I've extended the tools that I've got in Obsidian. It's got a very good plugin market. So that means you can find something that someone else has written, which extends the way the basic tool works. Really handy. As we go down this, just going to very quickly go through. We're not going to focus too much on any of these. Next to that, I've got my file explorer. Now, I like to look at things via a file explorer, but you can search, you can star items. Longform, this is a plugin that I've tried. Didn't really use it that much though. Go back to the file explorer and create a new note from there and create a new folder. I can look at the sort order. I'm going to go and look at the control page. So this is the first page I go to. It's a page I've produced, and essentially what this is, this gives me the links to the main areas that I'm going to be using. So if we look down here, I've got an area for video, miscellaneous. Because I've defined this video as being a title, I can collapse it if I want to. Same with miscellaneous. I'm going to go down here. Let's look at pen list. If I click on the arrow, that's going to actually open it up. Now this, it uses something called data view. Again, we're not going to go into there. Data view lets you write some search terms. So this list here is dynamically built as we're going through. Why I'm showing you this now, look here under Laban. We've got just Laban 325. That's the only entry. Remember that. It may be important later on. So this is the front page. As I say, I produced this. It's just another Markdown file. Another thing I've got on here, again, this is using this idea of the search terms. I've got a list here saying, show me everything that doesn't have a tag. So that as I'm adding new notes, like I've added here a capillary action note, if I don't have a tag associated with the note, it shows me here. And this is how I keep on top of where things are and building my links, because it forces me to go in and tag those pages. Back over on the left hand side, We've got the settings menu. Quick click on that. Lots of different options there for you. We've got files and links, appearance. There's lots you can do to tweak this. The key ones really though are the appearance, so you can use different themes, and the community plugins. This is where you add that extra functionality. Closing out of that. Now currently this is in editing mode. I'm going to go to the top, then you can see why it's important. So up on the right hand side, I've just hovered over and it says current view is editing. If I click on it, it takes me to read mode. So here we've got the add new button. So this is something I've added in. One of the plugins is to add a button. So what I do is I've created this. So when I want to create a new note, all I need to do is click on that. It then creates a new pane and it gives me a template. Again, a template that I've defined. If you'd like more information on this and want me to do a bit of a deeper dive, again, let me know. The first thing I'm going to do, right at the very top where it says new note, I need to give this file a name. It defaults to new note. Then the first thing I always do is I set the title of the page and the file name to be the same. So I'm going to call this a Laban test. And I'm going down to title. I'm going to change that to say Laban test. Here, this is part of the Markdown language where we've got the hash, then a space that says that's a main heading. Right, we're now going to put in some content. And I'm just going to put in any old gobbledygook because we don't spend ages watching me typing. So that's done nice and easy. Now at the top here, this is called front matter. We've got the 3 lines, then the word tags, and then I've got 3 lines again. The front matter is something that you define. You don't have to use it, but I've defined it because it helps me with the queries for building that dynamic list on the front page. I use another tool called Text Expander, which lets me type in things quickly. So I'm just going to trigger that and fetch in a new standard template that I use. So I'm going to say here, this is a pen and the manufacturer is Laban. Right, so I've put that in. Now let's go down here, and if we go down to Laban now, we can see here now this is that control page. Laban test, that's now appeared. The tags is very powerful. This is where I do a lot of my linking, is I use specific tags. If I do space, I'm going to then put the hash mark. That brings up a list of tags. So I can go through here and say, right, this is a fountain pen. And it's also note taking. Notice how it keeps a hash mark. What I then do, I just go in, take them out. There we go. I don't think you need to take them out there. You could leave them in. If you don't want to put the hash marks here in the front matter, you can go into the body and again press hash, and I'll say this is a pen of the day. So now that converts that and stores that as a hashtag. I heavily use tags. That's where, as I said, a lot of my linking comes from. So that is very quickly create a new note and how I use hashtags for the organization. Again, I've only gone very quickly over this. If you'd like a deeper dive, please let me know. Just close this out. One thing I'm going to show you is back over here on the very left-hand side, we've got a button called Open Graph View. I'm going to click on that. This is one of the interesting things with Obsidian. Let me just close this down. There we go. I'm just on a view out. I'm just scrolling with my mouse. It gives you a view here, and this is using a graph. Now on here, you can see where I've got red. If I hover over it, that's actually a hashtag, so I can see where things are linked to. I can zoom in. There we've got the names of the files, and there, again, with that red dot, we've got the name of the tag. You zoom it right out. Now, one of the things I use this for quite heavily is, I'm just going to go down here. We've got a dot there by itself. If I click on that, this is for a page that doesn't have a link to anything at the moment. So I'm not going to do this now, but later on, what I'll do is I'll go through, look at this page, look at what it should be linked to, and then set up those links. So everything is linked together. So that's where the beauty of this comes in. I'm able to go and graphically look at it, see where my links are, see when my links are missing, and then take any necessary actions that I need to do to fix that. So that was a very quick look through the tool. Next up, how do I gather my knowledge? Well, I start by searching the web. I start by reading books. What I do is I identify the key pieces of information that I like, and I capture that information. Now, you can capture it either electronically or onto paper. Personally, I like to capture mine onto paper. I have tried loads of the electronic methods. None of them really worked for me. I find I was battling against it, and it was more a case of I was copying and pasting. I wasn't really thinking. So what to do with paper? I have this. This is just a cheaper A5 notebook, and in here I gather my notes onto paper. So as I'm reading something, I've just put the information in there. It's a good opportunity. Let me use my fountain pens. I love using my fountain pens. I find by using this written method, what I'm doing is I'm reading the article, I'm reading the book, I'm thinking about it, and the notes I'm jotting down, they're not copied from the book. They're me interpreting what's in the book. I keep going through until I get to the end of the chapter. Once I've done that, I then put that book to one side. I like to leave it. It might only be 10 minutes. Sometimes it may be overnight. Depends how really heavy going that piece of knowledge was. When I come back to it, I then go through those notes and I type it into Obsidian. Again, I'm not typing directly. This is where I'm starting to put some structure in. I'll show you an example in a minute. I'm going through, thinking about each note. Again, I'm thinking about what it means, not what I've written. That's why I like to really sit on it for a while, because that lets your brain actually work on what you've read. Even though you're not necessarily thinking about it, in the background, the brain, it's chugging away. So by going from the book or the article onto paper, thinking, then retyping into Obsidian, I'm not only taking the notes, I'm thinking about the notes, and I'm also revisiting and reviewing the notes. Let's switch over to the computer and we'll take a look at how I do that. So here we are back in my master note, that top control note. What I'm going to do for this example, I've taken the notes for one of my question videos. So I'm going to go into my questions master note. I know, nice and well organized, isn't it? Tells me what it is. If I go down here, I can see I've got completed notes. These are for videos that I've done, I've finished, and then I've got active. Now, I know why is the sun yellows in both of them? That's because that's actually the video I'm working on at the moment. So I'm going to just click on that. So we can now go into the main note for the why is the sun yellow. What I've got there, I've got my front matter, and I'm saying this is of type questions. So I've got that tag there. I can link to all my questions. I've got the title, why is the sun yellow? Same as the name of the note. That's the way that I'm trying to do it. Underneath this, I've then got a table where I've got a whole list of different things that I've been looking at. So what these are different articles. Now the top two are virtually the same. I'm going to go into the second one first. This is Sun-Wikipedia. I started taking my notes for this using something called Matter. So I take the web page, I put it into Matter, I highlight the text on that web page, and then it automatically syncs into Obsidian. So this is what I was saying earlier. There are tools out there which can do it for you. But I've got to be honest, I found just did not work for me. That's why I went back to using good old pen and paper that I know works. So the top article, that's where I did it with pen and paper. Again, we've got our structure, we've got questions, and then I've got the name here at the top. That's, again, my title. Right down at the bottom, what I've done is I've put in the link to the article so I can link back to where the data came from. I like to try and do that for everything, just so I've got those linkages, those references back. So I started typing my notes up. Again, these notes, they're there for me. They're not there for someone else. So as long as I can understand them, that's the key. What you'll see is most of the text is white. That's just plain text. Then I've got these dark purple or pale purple. And if I go over one of them, so I'm going over Earth, you can see it's surrounded by two square brackets on either side. What this is an internal link. So what I'm telling Obsidian here is that there is a link to another page which is called Earth. Now, why this is dark purple, I actually haven't created this yet. This is just a link saying at some time I'm going to create a page called Earth. I don't need to do it for this article because what I'm talking about here is the sun, but I may want to do a video or an article or some research on the Earth at a later time. So that's when I would go in and create this actual page. Now I'm going to slowly scroll down here. So you can see I've got loads and loads and loads of different ones. All of them there, which are in that dark purple. But then what we do is we come down And we've got here, this is the sunlight, and this now is in bright purple. When I was taking my notes, there was a whole section on sunlight. Now, I could have just typed that in here, but I thought to myself, well, sunlight is very similar to Earth. It's a mini topic in its own right. So I created a page for it. Because I'd been taking the notes, what I decided to do is I thought, right, I'm now going to go and populate that page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the command button and click on sunlight. That opens it in a new pane. If I'd have just clicked on it, it would have opened it in the full view, so I would have had just the one pane still. I like to keep things in two panes when I'm doing this because it lets me go backwards and forwards very easily without having to go all the way back to the main menu. So in here, again, we're following the exact same format. There's the file name, we've got the title, we've got the front matter, and then here I start going through. I've put in here the top, why is the sun yellow? That's a link back to that particular video that I'm doing. Typed my notes, and again you can see we've got a lot of issues here where we've got that darker purple, things I haven't created yet. We've got some where we've got bright purple. So again I thought, well, these are subjects in their own right, let's create their own pages. Go down again. Now one thing I haven't done here is I haven't put the link. So I'm going to go back to the original pane. I've just selected the link. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to come back, a couple of new lines and paste it. That's how easy it is. That's the beauty of using plain text. You can copy and paste your heart's content. If we go down a little bit further, we can see here there's something called linked mentions. This is automatically built by Obsidian for you. What this is doing, it's searching through all the other files, and everywhere it's seeing a reference to this page, so sunlight, it's creating that here and saying, right, this is a link, and it's directly mentioned. There's no unlinked mentions. Unfortunately, I haven't got any on either of these pages. What an unlinked mention is where you're using the phrase on another page, but you haven't put it in the square brackets, so it doesn't see it as being a link. It's highlighting that. Then, as your knowledge base grows, by looking at these unlinked mentions, you start to see links that should be there. It lets you go and revisit that note, revisit the link, and start to build that whole web of information. Again, this is just a very quick, high-level look at what I'm doing. If you'd like to see me going into more detail on this, please let me know. More than happy to do more detailed videos. I just wanted to keep this one nice and simple for the first time we're looking at it. Now I know this has been a very heavy video. I was just trying to go over the very top level, the very surface of what we can do with PKM. If you'd like to see me digging into more detail, please drop a comment down below. Let me know the areas you'd like more information. Let me know the areas you'd like me to go a lot deeper on. If you like the video, please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.